It's all happening. This thing's nicer than my apartment.
Good evening, ghouls. My name is Alec, and in my mid-20s, I discovered I was basically media illiterate. So, to get caught up, I joined the Undead Poet Society, ruled by Robert.
Hey.
And Becca.
Hello.
We are currently doing a mini-series. If any of you have gone to a Regal Movies theater in the last few years, you'll know that there's this terrible Pepsi commercial that comes on before all of the movies, in which the characters speak to each other in poorly chosen movie quotes. We are celebrating the death of that commercial because it is one of the worst commercials on the planet by watching the movies that they're quoting in order. This episode is the second quote, the second movie. This thing is nicer than my apartment. The movie being Eddie Murphy's magnum opus, Beverly Hills Cop.
Beverly Hills Cop.
Mm-hmm.
Better than I was expecting.
Like, low key, like, I don't know. Actually, I do know. I hate the commercial. So I expected all the movies to be bad for some reason, subconsciously. And we're 2 for 2. They are the ones that we've seen so far, specifically not bad. I enjoyed Almost Famous. And Beverly Hills Cop. Okay. We're going to need a little history lesson first. Because I can't uncritically praise Beverly Hills Cop without taking a moment to acknowledge the almost incalculable damage that cop media has done to America, and specifically its minorities. So if you're unaware, kids, the cops fucking suck. And if that, upsets you, then you can go lick boots on another podcast. I don't give a fuck. But a large reason why they have been allowed to get away with very literal, non-metaphorical murder, the way that they've been getting away with this, is because the public doesn't understand what cops do. And specifically, they have a very different idea of what cops do because they don't actually watch cops do their job. They watch cop movies, and they watch cop shows, and cop procedurals, and buddy cop movies. And unfortunately, as me and Robert discovered and discussed during the movie, buddy cop movies and cop procedurals, they're pretty good movies. They're pretty good shows. Like, they write themselves. They've got a great formula. We'll talk about it more. But the problem is that, like, these cop movies, it's the same. Like, imagine thinking that you understand how a hospital works and voting on hospital legislation based on watching, like, House or like Grey's Anatomy or something. You know what I mean? Or like thinking that you can legislate how lawyers are supposed to act and behave because you watched Suits or something. It's not reality. It's never been reality. And actually, cop procedurals and buddy cop movies specifically have a vested interest in portraying the police in a way that the police want, because the police subsidize these movies and shows. The police departments in the places where these things are filmed will loan for free, like men in uniform, like gear, and most importantly, cop cars, like the Crown Vics, like the cars that you see in all of these. They're often real because they're donated by the police departments as props, and for that reason, the studios get to shoot their shows and their movies for cheaper, as long as they play nice with the police and portray them in a good light. So you've got conservatives and traditional people and rural people who all think that cops are these superheroes, when in reality they're largely around just to fuck up like black people and minorities, and have been for a very long time, and to enforce a very specific racial and economic status quo that benefits whites and the rich. And the more white and the more rich, the more the cops benefit you, and the less white and the less rich, the more the cops are actively fucking you over. So all of that out of the way, I feel like that needs to be said before I can just say with my chest, I really enjoyed this movie.
It was a better time than I thought.
It's a good movie.
Go ahead,
not to just like stay on this, but I wanted to come back to it at some point, so I might as well say it now. I was just poking around the IMDb and like other pages for this movie, thinking that the number one quote would be, "This is nicer than my apartment." But it was the quote from the scene where he gets thrown out the window. And I think that says a lot about like the effect that this, like, I don't know the effect.
What does
but,
he say? Like,
it's
Threw me
just
out of
the
the
scene where he
goddamn
gets-
window. Like,
yeah, and he's like, what's the crime for getting thrown out of a car? Jaywalking. And it's not necessarily like the most famous, like, obviously not the most famous line from the movie. It's not the most memorable part of the movie, but it's very important because I don't know if they were trying to go for it, but they portrayed exactly what happens in America with the police and with crime against minorities. And like they said, well, we have 6 witnesses, the 6 men who threw him out the window, that you came in and started tearing shit up and like
it's
were
like a little microcosm of police
exactly.
fuckery of
So,
minorities.
Exactly. So I think the fact that on IMDb is like the quote that they have on there, I think that says something about I don't know. I don't know if they intended for it to be pointing something out, but it definitely does in 2023.
That's
But that was all I
interesting.
wanted to say on that.
No, yeah, like there was at times a slight racial bent. Like it's like you can sometimes tell with certain movies that the main character was written as just a very generic character, and then like they may have like plugged in like an actor who's like a minority or something, and you'll notice that because, or it can be easier to guess that because the fact that they're a minority doesn't really do anything for the story, right? Like you could swap them out with a white peer and nothing would change. I don't think you could do that completely with this movie, specifically like with his like he pressures the hotel into letting him stay for free by throwing like a you're being racist against me rant.
Yeah.
Which I don't know. I guess we can unpack that. And he has this moment with the other black Beverly Hills cop where he like makes fun of how he talks because he like hangs around and works with white people, and Eddie Murphy's character is making fun of him for sounding white, you know? But at the same time, I don't think that it like he was thrown out of a window not because he was black, but because he was snooping around about the murder, right? And in fact, he's the only one that uses the N-word in the movie when like if you like none of the villains ever used like a slur or even like mentioned his race that I remember, right?
Yeah, no.
So I don't know. I'm like what I'm doing right now is trying to figure out whether or not this movie deserves any credit for like its like whether or not it made any attempt to reconcile the fact that, you know, black people and police officers have a very complicated history, and for Eddie Murphy's character to be a black police officer, if this were a real life story, there would be a lot to unpack there. I'm not sure that this movie does that in any meaningful way. I don't know.
It did a lot less with like the race stuff than I thought it was going to, but I think there was definitely stuff there. I think first and foremost this movie was a comedy.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So I don't think it was
Action
trying
comedy.
to tackle anything,
Yeah.
you know? Like
And that's what I like. I don't think that at the time it was necessarily intended to, but I mean, I wasn't there, obviously, so I don't know. Maybe it was, and it just is really subtle compared to what we would like to see today. But it's just really interesting being in 2023 and like
yeah, for sure.
knowing so much more about the society in which we live and history and what it means to be a police officer and what it means to be a person of color in America. And so I don't know if necessarily it was intended to be anything. Maybe it was, maybe it wasn't. I didn't do enough research on the film to actually say one way or another, but I just wanted to point it out because I thought it was interesting.
Yeah, this movie, I was actually surprised at how high of a rating this movie had on like Rotten Tomatoes and stuff. It had like an 83 or something like that, like very, very high percent. And because like,
Well, it's because of the theme song. Obviously.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, but like, the name Beverly Hills Cop made me immediately hate this movie. Like before we watched it and before I knew anything about it, because I was like, oh my god, a fucking cop procedural. But I do think that it is elevated a little bit by the fact that he is black and that it doesn't shy away from the fact that he's black. You know what I mean? Like, and I think it shows like. I don't know. Like it was, it shows an interesting dynamic, I guess, between these cops. It did have a little bit of that, like he's kind of like the loose cannon from Detroit, you know, that like
He
and then
doesn't
he
play
goes
by
to
the rules, and that he's a
he doesn't
former
play by the
criminal,
rules
and
exactly, and he's a former criminal, and then he goes to Beverly Hills where they're all civilized and stuff. There's a little bit of that's a little bit iffy for me, but
How close is
you know,
Beverly Hills to Los Angeles? Because like a big, I don't like my California geography is shite. Is it okay? So Santa Monica. Okay. We've got a problem because Beverly Hills is like a suburb of Los Angeles,
yes.
and Beverly Hills Police Department in this movie is specifically written as like a foil to the Detroit Police Department, or more specifically, Axel Foley's antics. Right? Like Axel Foley is like, oh, come on, I know how to get like a search without a warrant and things like that. And the Beverly Hills Police Department is like, no, we do things by the book, and we do things because they're right, and we don't lie, even when it's, you know, like, even when it's gonna screw us over. The Los Angeles Police Department has been
historically
ludicrously corrupt.
Yeah.
like on the level of like
corrupt.
a domestic terrorist gang. Like depending on whether or not you're and like it definitely more so in the past than now. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they just have better PR now. But like the idea that the Beverly Hills Police Department is like these like white knights of like police nobility and like looking out to protect your rights and shit, utter fucking horseshit. Not true. Has never been true at all at any time.
Do we want to get into
the summary?
the summary?
Yeah.
Whose turn is it?
I'd like to do it. Can I do it?
Go ahead.
All right, so we open up on Axel Foley, who has smuggled a bunch of cigarettes in like a semi-truck to Detroit. He's trying to sell them to some local crooks. Cops interrupt it. It becomes this big old shit show, and we find out that Axel Foley is actually an undercover cop with the Detroit Police Department. He's chewed out by his superior because he's a loose cannon, but damn it if you're not one of the best cops we've got on the force, and all of that nonsense. But when he goes home, he finds that his best friend in the whole world, who's a criminal, and Axel himself actually has like a lightly criminal background, which is interesting because he's a police officer. His best friend has gotten out of jail, and he's got these Deutschmarks, like these bonds from Germany. It's obvious that they've been stolen, but the two reconnect. They kind of like set aside the fact that his friend is obviously still in criminal elements and that he's a cop, but they kind of set that aside so that they can reconnect. However, Axel is like kind of like knocked out by some guys in a hallway, like when they're returning to his apartment, and his best friend is like just straight up executed by like these hitmen, essentially. Axel is told to just completely stay away from the case because he's too close to it, but he refuses to, and he goes to Beverly Hills, where his friend claims to have been working because he wants to investigate the murder. He interacts with the Beverly Hills Police Department and pulls a bunch of antics on them because they're weary of him, that he's like this out-of-town loose cannon cop who doesn't play by the rules. But he begins to unravel this criminal conspiracy that his friend was killed for interfering with, and eventually managed to bring down the ringleader of this criminal conspiracy, who was basically managing a drug smuggling and bond smuggling operation through customs. And at the end, the Beverly Hills cops grudgingly admit like how effective Axel's methods are, and everybody who we like lives, and I think everybody who we don't like dies. That's
pretty much
more or less what it comes down to.
God damn it! If Crazy Frog wasn't born of this movie.
Like so I don't know how many listeners we have, but young listeners or youngish listeners, you may know a little tune by the name of Crazy Frog, which is bum 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 like that. I knew it, or I grew up with this fucking music video of a horrendously rendered CGI frog with like a vest and a helmet and goggles who is driving around on an invisible motorcycle, right? Am I remembering this right, or did I hallucinate this? But that's a more recent-ish remake of the original song. We keep hearing this tune throughout the movie. It plays constantly all the time, and we find out that this tune, the this is the theme for Beverly Hills Cop, basically. And Axel F, that's the name of the main character. Main character is Axel Foley. So now you know.
Axel Foley.
It was a very popular song for a long time.
Shocking discovery. Shocking discovery.
And they lean on that theme. Jesus Christ, this movie is like an hour and 40 minutes long, and this tune is playing through like an hour and 10 minutes of it.
The whole thing. Yeah, the whole thing.
Wild. I was gonna ask you what your first Eddie Murphy movie was, and you can't say Shrek.
Haunted Mansion, easy.
What if it was though?
I mean, it definitely was Shrek. I think Shrek.
Yeah,
predated Haunted Mansion.
that's why I said you can't say Shrek.
When did they come
Other than Shrek?
What about Daddy Daycare or Dr. Dolittle?
Dr. Dolittle was pretty early for me.
I don't think I've seen either of those.
I'm like scarred by Daddy Daycare, and we won't talk about why.
Okay.
The way that I thought that like they came out with a new Dr. Dolittle with RDJ, and I thought they had whitewashed Dr. Dolittle until I realized that Dr. Dolittle was like an actual character, like before Eddie Murphy.
Blackwashed Dr. Dolittle, okay.
I was
Wait,
they whitewashed Dr. Dolittle.
Wait, is this real? I don't know what you're talking about.
Dr. Dolittle is a pre-existing thing. It existed before the Eddie Murphy movie, and Eddie
it's
Murphy...
like a different IP.
See, I'm saying
it's a book, isn't it?
We were English majors and we didn't know that until after college. So like, I'm just saying,
That's crazy.
My Dr. Dolittle is Eddie Murphy.
Not my Dr. Dolittle.
Not my Dr. Dolittle.
Hashtag not my Dr. Dolittle. They might just be movies. There's a Dr. Dolittle movie as far back as 1967.
Period. And it's not Eddie Murphy. Not my Dr. Dolittle.
I wasn't prepared for the fact that Eddie Murphy is low-key like hot in this movie. Like he's really young. But like...
I've never seen him so young. Yeah.
Yeah, same. He's like on fire. And you know, besides the queer baiting, I think he did pretty good.
A little problematic, but hey.
You know what?
What?
Yeah.
What are you gonna say, Becca?
I don't know.
Going back for just
you know,
a
we've
moment.
all queer baited in our time. Whoa.
Does it count as queer baiting if you're queer though?
Dr. Dolittle is a literary character created by Hugh Lofting.
I'm saying.
Who lived up to 1947. So it's an older literary character that has been brought to life in several movies.
Eddie Murphy.
Several different.
Only one of which is Eddie Murphy.
Sorry, but he's the only real one.
He's the only real one, honestly.
Sorry.
Is Dr. Dolittle in the same universe as like that Rob Schneider movie, The Animal?
It better be.
It's one of those movies that I've seen an obscene amount of times.
It's in the same.
For no good reason.
I'm looking at IMDb right now. It's in the same universe as Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
No. Imagine, dude. Just for That's such a good bit, though. Just to like claim that your movie is
two completely unrelated movies. Beverly Hills Cop and I don't know, fucking Shanghai Noon. Oh shit, those both have Eddie Murphy, don't they?
No, it's not. That's Chris Rock.
Oh, that's Chris Rock. Shit,
I'm racist.
Oh shit.
Oh god.
Alec canceled. Not my Dr. Dolittle.
Dude. Not his Dr. Doodle. Now we know why.
Diddled by Dr. Doolittle.
No, please.
Anybody have anything meaningful to say about the movie?
No, I think we're done. All right,
Yeah, I don't know. Like,
It's not even that good of a movie now that I'm thinking about it. Like, I don't know. Like,
I
it was
just
fun,
enjoyed
but there's
it.
nothing like critical that I can say about
No,
this
it was a
movie.
fun like comedy action movie, and it had Crocodile Dundee, and it had
What?
Yeah.
Where?
Isn't
You're
that
telling me that
Roosevelt?
Crocodile Dundee's in this universe too?
This takes place in the same universe as Crocodile.
Yeah, Beverly Hills Cop 2 and Kangaroo Jack are in the same movie, in the same cinematic universe.
Who am I thinking of? No, wait, it's not him.
Which character do you
Oh
think
my
is Crocodile
god, but
Dundee?
guess what? He's in Dr. Doolittle $1 million mutts.
Oh my god.
Insane.
Where's Rob Schneider in all
And
this?
he's in Eddie Murphy One Night Only.
Oh my
Wait.
God.
No, who's Crocodile Dundee? You know what's crazy is that they're just white men that look similar, and I couldn't tell them apart. Just like the way that I can't tell apart Ryan Gosling and who was it, Ryan Reynolds and Jake Gyllenhaal. They all look the same to me. Come for me for that, but I don't know.
Nah, that's
Just how I feel.
They're just white men.
That's what I'm saying. They all look the fucking same.
Anyway, I do object because Ryan Gosling has my heart, but
Well, yeah, but I still
least
can't
until he
tell
does or says
who he
something
is. I'm
racist
face
and-
blind to white men.
or if we find out that he's groomed someone or something like that's gonna happen eventually because we can't have nice things. You heard
Did
it here,
we wanna
folks.
talk about-
This is a legally actionable claim against Ryan Gosling
Oh?
that he is currently grooming minors.
Whoa! I wanted to talk about something you guys said during the movie, and it was that you thought the quote was not memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
more
wanted to
specifically-
Which
provide
there's something.
a
Okay.
different opinion, but you guys go ahead first.
Yeah, I gotta state the opinion before you can counter
Exactly.
So
This theater or this commercial is built on famous lines. In the first movie, it was a reoccurring line that was like very thematic.
it's all
in
happening.
this one, yeah. In this one, felt like a throwaway line.
It's just one of the 4 dozen snarky comments that he made throughout the movie. It's fine. It's a good line, but it's not like a we're gonna need a bigger boat. You know what I mean? Like it just feels like the same as the rest of the movie. So I don't know. There was two parts to this. Is that like I wasn't sure why that one was chosen for the commercial, but if it was chosen for the commercial because that just happened to be the most famous quote in it, and that's what people remembered about it, that's entirely possible. But even if that's the case, I don't know why that would be, because it didn't stand out to me that hard or that much.
I have an answer or a possible theory. Robert, did you have anything to add?
No.
Okay.
Tinfoil hat time.
First thing is one that I think your theory of it being the most memorable, like the one that people remember the most, is going to be what's the most accurate. But I have 2 reasons for that. One of them is that like the reason I think it felt like a throwaway line for us is because we didn't grow up with the trailer, and it's in every trailer that you'll watch of this movie, like every trailer that you're going to look up. It's one of the only quotes that's repeated in every one of them. And I think I personally have heard the line, this thing is nicer than my apartment, like a million times before I saw the Regal commercial. And I didn't know what it was from. So I feel like it's something that we, having been born like decades after this movie came out, or a decade or so after this movie came out, just isn't something that it wasn't an event in our lives, you know? It's just something that we went like deaf to in a way, you know? Like we just were like, okay, yeah, that's just a thing people say. not realizing that at one point it wasn't a thing that people said. And I don't know if you guys have even noticed that that's something that people have said. But because it is something people have said, it's in the movie. I hate repeating things. And I've repeated the same thing about like 20 times in the past 15 seconds. Yep. So
chatterbox you.
yeah, we got a real chatterbox tonight in me. And the real chatterbox only has a vocabulary about like 200 words. So I think my theory is that, yeah, it's just the most famous quote because it was repeated so often and people kind of attached to it because it is kind of a funny thing. And yeah, he does say like a ton of funny stuff that could be funnier, but I think that's the one that like out of context you can take the easiest because with a lot of other things that he says, like a lot of other lines that he has, you require the context of more than just like a sentence or two. Whereas this thing is nicer than my apartment is a funny line because you're in a cop car. Like, one, it's a car. Second, it's a cop car. The connotations that come with being in a cop car, it's not like...
It's also kind of true. His apartment was shit, dude.
Not nicer than your... What?
It's also kind of true. His apartment was shit.
It's true. He didn't do his dishes. But... So it's like, it's the juxtaposition and the irony of the thing. And then also, it's something that you can just throw out, you know, that you can say about other things. Like, because it's a funny thing to say. I don't know, like you go and you go to the movie theater. This place is nicer than my apartment. You know, even though obviously a movie theater would probably be nicer than a 500 square foot Seattle apartment. But or Detroit apartment, I guess, in the movie, to put it in the movie context. But like yeah, so I think it's mainly because of the way it was marketed and then also because of ease of use that it became the most famous quote. And other than that, I can't really contribute much because again, I wasn't there, so I don't know how culturally impactful or significant it was, but either way it was, because here we are doing this episode.
Well.
Here we are.
Why do you guys think that this movie was so impactful?
Because of the
I would really I'd be willing to bet that the Eddie Murphy and like having a black main lead had a good amount to do with it, because this is right after, this is like, I think, and obviously I'm not a film historian and I'm not like an African American studies like major or anything like that, but I know that the blaxploitation films happened in like the early 70s, and those were something that were really obviously, I don't want to say bad, because there was a lot of people who at the time were just happy to see black people on the screen. You know what I mean? And I think that this is maybe like a couple of steps past that. You know what I mean? We're like, okay, we're not just having a bunch of black people in the movie and we're going to kill them and do stupid and goofy things. You know what I mean? And like, this is like blaxploitation. I think this movie is to blaxploitation as what blaxploitation is to blackface, I guess is what I'm saying. Like, this is like just a further down the timeline of like, okay, we're actually getting real representation. And I think, I don't know, I think Eddie Murphy is just kind of magnetic. He's got a great personality. You know what I mean? Like, I
love
funny.
Axel's character.
I think
dude.
that people, yeah, he's great. He's so fucking, and like I don't know how established like this kind of character is, but I think that Eddie Murphy's portrayal of this character was pretty electric and very magnetizing. You know what I mean? Like, you just kind of want him to win.
He's smart. He's proactive. He cares deeply. Like, he's doing all of this for his friend, who was kind of a scumbag, but like the way that he reconnects with his friend makes him like so like rootable. You know what I mean? That he like doesn't like. He doesn't like ice his friend because he's a cop now and he's a criminal. You know, like he was able to like set that aside, and the way that he's like so charming with like the cops that are assigned to tail him, but at the same time, like he's mischievous but not malicious, you know.
Yeah.
Like he's clever. He's funny. Like he's just a good fucking character. Like I was taken with him, and Eddie Murphy's portrayal of him.
Agreed. That's probably like my biggest, like, I think reason why is honestly just Eddie Murphy kind of knocked it out of the park. The rest of the characters are a little bit forgettable, in my opinion. But in this kind of movie, they don't really need to be very much. You know what I mean? Like you're kind of okay with like the dopey cop stereotype and the gruff cop stereotype and the angry, like disapproving, sergeant or captain or whatever the fuck you want to call him. And like the over the top evil villain, you know what I mean? Like you don't really like it's okay to have those stereotypes and those like kind of cliche character tropes when you have a character like Axel as your main character, you know what I mean? And then just the fucking song, like it's a good song, and it became the fucking like a number one hit, like top 40s whatever, number one hit the next year, and this movie actually won a Grammy, or not a Grammy, or maybe it was a Grammy. I think it was a Grammy actually for that song. Here, now I have to check. Cause
Crazy Frog has a Grammy.
Crazy Frog has a Grammy. I was actually shook that this movie that song came from this movie. You know what I mean?
I know,
like,
I'm so shook. Like
it's just such a classic song that like I don't know.
why did
I thought it was just like a
Crazy
song,
Frog?
you know?
Why Crazy Frog? Like why did we do this?
Well, I mean, Crazy Frog picked the song because it was so famous.
I know,
You what
but
I mean?
like why did it have to be Crazy Frog? You know?
Also, okay, I know Crazy Frog, the Axel F Crazy Frog video. I'm pulling it up right now because I want to get this right. Dear viewers, I want you to think about how many views this YouTube video has and then double it because you were not prepared for the 4.1 billion. 4.1
with a
billion
B?
Views with a B on fucking YouTube.
Like a single video?
Billion. One video 14 years ago, 4.1
Utter
billion.
fucking cap, 4.3
And that's not even
views.
counting the fucking... That's not even counting the, like...
The reposts and the
the
edits.
repost. This repost has 6.6 million alone. Posted 10 months ago. 10 months ago! 10 months ago!
Out here watching Crazy Frog.
Who's watching Crazy Frog in 2023?
10 months ago.
In January of 2023. Do you think there's someone who like uploads, like re-uploads Crazy Frog at the beginning of every year?
Crazy Frog.
My yearly
2.6 million views.
New Year's resolution.
It's just called
upload
Axel.
Crazy Frog.
Bro, I'm about to upload Crazy Frog to our channel just to boost our fucking numbers because people are going wild for this shit.
Next up, the Gummy Bear song and its crazy
I'm
origins.
a gummy bear. Oh, yeah, I'm a gummy bear.
We hate.
Yeah,
Crazy
4.1
Frog?
billion views.
On God, Crazy Frog made me uncomfortable as a child. I think it's the fact that he was wearing clothes but not pants. It's the implication.
Actually,
there.
We weren't a huge
digging.
like Crazy Frog household.
I did not like Crazy Frog. Scared the fuck out of me, honestly.
We were a gummy bear household.
I was
yeah,
not.
you guys were a gummy bear
was
household.
not.
And a hamster dance.
Hamster dance, yep.
Household.
Yep.
That was not me.
Couldn't catch me dead.
I
Yep.
watched YouTube poop of like SpongeBob.
YouTube poop.
Yep. That's about it.
What the fuck does that even mean?
It's just like insane deep fried edits of SpongeBob. We have talked about everything under the sun. So I think it's time to maybe like rate it and write some poems.
I would be okay with that.
Period.
All right, where are we ranking them on our Letterboxd list? Go follow us on Letterboxd, folks, where you can get a list of all of our movies that we've seen, ranked by each Undead poet. I have got mine at number 50.
Hmm.
Above Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, and right below Fight Club.
That's crazy.
41 for me.
21?
I like.
You
41.
heard it here first,
41,
folks.
okay.
Alex homophobic.
I mean, I've never denied those allegations.
All right, moving on. Mine is ranked at 54, above Pan's Labyrinth,
Damn.
and below The Woman King because women.
Because, Barbie.
Hi, Barbie.
That feels like it belongs there.
Yeah.
Who's got?
I'll go first for poems. A friend once confessed to me how much he loves stealing. We all laughed, but deep inside we all know the rush of partaking in the ethically questionable delights. A stolen crochet hook from Joanne's, a long lunch break on a busy day, and a reluctant smile for a genre funded by the pigs. No one finds 9/11 jokes quite as funny as Americans. We all seek progressively smaller vices.
Oh, that's
Shut
good.
the fuck up. Shut up.
Never mind, it was bad.
up.
Becca thinks it was bad. You got it, Becca.
Me? I don't think you're
Why,
going to
man?
like this.
Why would
I
I
don't
not
care.
like it?
Just
Mine's
like,
a little...
She just starts with the N word.
No. Mine's a little avant-garde.
ooh,
Oh, avant-garde.
a little film noir. For context, we were watching Halloween, the original one, and the entire time, Alex's brother, who was a little bit too drunk, kept
Classic.
saying, "This movie's so film noir." And we're like, "I don't think you know what that means. Like, you keep saying it like you do."
He was
but-
trying to say avant-garde,
Yeah.
but he was just wrong. Just using the wrong term entirely. And when we tried to correct him, he just doubled down in the annoying way he does when he's drunk. Hey, Justin, love you.
Anyways,
Um,
film noir.
this part's an asterisk. 2 rats the size of a dinner plate and a small poodle, respectively, fight over the discarded half of a pickled beet and goat cheese sandwich, which has been soaking in a puddle of craft beer, piss, and the bitterest robot barista coffee on this side of 6th. Average 20-something Seattleite number 1. Damn. Average Seattleite something 20-something 2. This place is still nicer than my apartment.
Damn, she went full avant-garde.
I told you. This
Yeah, I
is
didn't
just
like it.
stream
No,
of
I was dying.
consciousness.
That's that. I wrote this shit on my period type shit.
This is the man I was just thinking about Pioneer Square kind of bullshit.
You wake up at 2 a.m. like a conflicted main character and then just write this down on a notepad next to your bed.
You should see the notepad next to my bed, dude. Insane.
Do you have one?
I'll neither confirm nor deny,
Damn.
but I did confirm, so.
Oh, this thing's nice in my apartment. My voice is flat in my lead-lined coffin, and I chuckle for no one but me. To pass the time, I chew on the bullets that got me buried before spitting them out like sunflower seeds. Gunpowder tastes a lot like salt if you're bored. I forget why they had me whacked. Maybe they had a good reason. Maybe not. Who cares? What's shot is shot, and what's shot can rot.
Damn.
Shut
Cool.
up, dude.
It was kind of mid.
Big mid energy.
We're not mean enough on these
Big-
poems. We need to be meaner.
Common Alec L.
Common Alec L.
I want you to read your poem again, Becca.
You don't think mine's film noir enough?
Do it right now.
2 rats the size of a dinner.
Well,
Oh,
ghouls.
All right,
man.
goals. There it is. Beverly Hills Cop.
Ghouls. Beverly Hills Cop on the books. Magnum opus of Eddie Murphy.
If you're
Highest
following
point
along,
of his career.
Hashtag is my Dr. Doolittle. I almost said Daddy Doolittle, and I'm a little
Daddy
bit
Doolittle.
worried
Daddy Doolittle?
about why.
Oh, Becca just tattled on herself. We got some Becca lore right there.
I'm signing
That
off.
wouldn't surprise me at
Bibles.
all. Didn't you have a crush on the ant from Ants?
No.
Or was it Bug's Life?
No, it was Bug's Life. There's a
I
big
guess
difference.
that
I would
is
like
better
to
than the
say.
one from Ants.
Thank you. It's
I would
objective.
at least give you that.
He's blue and is not quite as angular.
And he has kind eyes.
He does have
He has kind eyes instead of the. Okay, I haven't watched this movie in literal decades, but is the ant from Ants? Is it played by Cillian Murphy because it looks like Cillian Murphy but it's ant? Am I tripping on that?
I
Hold on,
don't
I'm
think
looking
it's
this up right
Killian
now.
Murphy, but he does
But
look
like
like
look it up
Cillian
though.
Murphy.
Look it up though. Google ants right now.
No, I know what you're
and look
talking
at
about.
The ant from
Well,
Ants.
I loved this movie as a kid, which
Are
probably
you
says something.
are you kidding me?
I loved this movie.
No,
It's
no,
got
no, no,
fucking
no.
Christopher
I mean,
Walken.
I mean, the ant from Ants, I think, is Woody Allen.
It is. It is.
Oh shit! It is.
And his
Never
best
mind.
friend is
Robert's
Sylvester
canceled.
Stallone.
What the fuck was that movie, bro?
What? Yeah.
What
is his
happened?
cast?
This is crazy. Sharon Stone, Jennifer Lopez, Danny
Christopher
Glover,
Walken.
Christopher Walken. This is a star-studded cast, folks.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
This is crazy.
Jim
They really said we have to do better than Bug's Life and still made Ants.
Jesus. This is an anti-ants podcast.
No,
You
it is
heard
not. I
it.
Absolutely
fucking
it
loved
is.
Ants. Ants
Oh,
was one of my
man.
faves. It's the adult version, all right?
Oh shit! Yeah,
for, like,
Sylvester
mature
Stallone
audience.
is the big ant. He's the buff one.
Yeah. Oh my.
Oh my god! I'm just looking at the because like when you look it up on IMDb, it like plays like random parts
Yeah.
of the movie and like the banner at up top. This is horrifying looking.
The
This is
animation
just-
is scary.
It's so
Their eyes
dark.
are so far apart.
Like they're dimly lit. Like
Yeah.
These ants
My
are
This
God.
movie
They
creeped
go to
me
war.
out.
They have PTSD. They have a severed head of one of the fallen ants talk to them as in his dying breaths.
Yeah, I think I watched this movie like once and I had nightmares about it.
But ant together strong. So, bye the dip, boys. Good night, ghouls.
Good night. Oh
Good night,
Jesus,
ghouls.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
I love you very much, ghouls.
The
Good night.
cheekbones.
Goodbye. The killing cheekbones.
Hate it, bro. Oh man, my stomach hurts. My little tummy hurts so bad.